going on, guys? Adam here to bring you this week's fishing report. We are in full swing winter now, but we still got plenty of fishing opportunities out there, so let's get right into it. First and foremost, I'm sure you guys want to hear about some migratory rockfish. You may have heard that they're starting to push up into Maryland waters. That is in fact the case, definitely in the lower end of Maryland waters in the bay, but they are starting to push up. You can find them under birds when they're busting on bait or along channel edges. You're just going to want to scan around those ledges and look for bait, and once you start marking bait, those fish should be close behind. If you're targeting those big fish, I know everyone says big bait's big fish, but a lot of the bait out there is small right now, so you can go out there with like a 10-inch BKD, 7-inch diesel minnow, 8-inch streaks, whatever it is, if you want to solely target those big fish and just weed out the little ones. But if you really do want to match the hatch, I would downsize a little bit, maybe a 6-inch diesel minnow, maybe a 3-ounce GI bunker spoon, something like that would be a really good option for you guys going after those migratory ones. And if you just want to chase resident fish still, those opportunities are still great throughout the bay. All the way up like at the mouth of the Patapsco, I know guys are still getting some resident fish. Jigging, same thing, metals, plastics. You can do the same thing like the Bay Bridge rock piles. There'll be fish there that winter all year long. The power plant too is another really cool place you guys can go look. You might find some other species there as well, so we'll leave that up to you when you're out there jigging. But that's really it for rockfish. It's just a matter of going out there, braving the cold, and finding them. Most of the time, they've been pretty willing to bite. As far as perch goes, we're seeing some yellow perch start to pop up in the upper reaches of your tidal creeks. They're fat. They got eggs this time of year, but we're not in full swing perch run yet. That's going to be a couple months. You can also find yellow perch in some of your mill ponds as well. As far as white perch goes, a lot of them are really deep right now over hard bottom like oyster bottom, things like that. Mousier creeks, mousier rivers, I've heard as deep as 100 foot of water and not much shallower than like 50 foot of water. You can do like a jigging spoon for them. You can do a sabiki rig with a heavy weight on there and some fish bites or bloodworms. That should get the perch going for you guys. Catfish, they're also going to be deep right now. They're going to be at holes, channel edges. Mouth of your rivers on the main stem of the bay is going to be a good place to look. Pools Island, mouth the Chester would be a good place to look. And a little further up the mouth of the Patuxent, not quite at the mouth, but a little further up, there's some holes where I've heard guys are catching catfish. And then as we always talk about, head up towards DC on the Potomac if you want to get a chance at some big blues and flatheads. Bottom rig is going to work great for catfish. You can do a top bottom rig, you can do a fish finder rig with some LY chicken liver, really anything stinky and meaty that you can put down there for the fish. So pickerel is going to be another option for you guys if you want to do some shallow water fishing, if you're going out in a kayak, things like that. You can find them in your mill ponds. You can find them in your tidal rivers and creeks like the Magathie, the Severn, and the Patapsco. Live minnows are really going to be your best bet this time of year, especially as it gets colder. But if you do want to play the artificial game of suspending jerkbait or glide bait, it's a really good option, something that I like to throw for those pickerel. To find them, most of your vegetation has died off by now, but look for wood structure that relates to like a little bit of deeper water. That's going to be a good place to look for them. As far as largemouth go, they're starting to transition into their little deep winter areas, but there's still some of them up shallow. You might find them in some of those same areas where you would find pickerel, like I said, like wood structure relating to deeper water. But if you're not finding them there, look for a hole, look for like a channel or something like that. Preferably something with rock bottom. Rock is going to absorb that sun and hold the heat a little bit better. And you could chuck a football jig down there. You could chuck a Ned rig. You could jig a blade bait. Anything that's going to kind of get it like right on their nose. It's going to be a good option for largemouth there. As far as crappie go, and areas where you can fish for largemouth, that's going to be the upper reaches of your tidal rivers and creeks, like on the eastern shore of the Pocomoke. And you can also find them in your mill ponds and also any of your like local neighborhood ponds and lakes. The largemouth are still there. They're not going anywhere, so you should be able to still target them. As far as other panfish goes, crappie should be schooled up and suspended pretty tight right now. Again, in the same areas that your largemouth are going to be found for the most part. Ponds, lakes, reservoirs, tidal creeks, the upper reaches of tidal creeks. You can drop down minnows for them. You can kind of work it up through the water column until you find where that school's sitting at. Or or you can do like little marabou jigs or like a little roadrunner jig. You can even tip those with a minnow. That'd be a really good option for you guys. Smallmouth in the Susquehanna, the Upper Potomac, the Monocacy River, they are deep right now. That's kind of the story for the smallmouth. They're deep right now, but they're still chewing. So if you find them, drag a football jig, bounce a blade bait, similar how you would do for your largemouth that are kind of deep right now. Trout, great time of year to trout fish, guys. You got plenty of holdovers that have no more or little to no pressure on them anymore from the DNR stockings in October. And you also have up in the northern and western parts of the state, you've got some wild browns and some native brookies, which you can go target. If you're doing spinning gear, you can do inline spinners, you can do jerk baits, you can do trout magnets, things like that. And if you're fly fishing, this is a great time of year to throw streamers, as those fish are putting on the feed bag for the cold of winter. Over there in the surf, still a lot of spiny dogfish and rays, but you do have a chance of getting one of those big migratory rockfish as they continue to move down from Jersey and then along the coast up into the bay. So those of you looking to go do that in the surf, you do have a shot there. You can chunk bunker for them, or you can walk the beach, look for bird shows, throw like a big diamond jig. You could throw a big topwater at them, glide bait, really any big heavy plug that you can cast far. As far as offshore goes, there's not much happening in the canyons right now, but some of your wrecks and reefs that are a little closer in, guys are still catching sea bass, tog, flounder. There are bluefin around too. It's really a hit or miss bite for guys going out for them. I've heard a lot of people going out for the bluefish are actually sort of giving up a little early and going to chase those migratory rockfish that are out there if they cannot get those bluefin to bite. I've heard they've been keyed in on like really small bait, and that's been a little bit of the problem. But they are out there, and you can always go and give it a shot. In the back bay, guys are still catching stripers from the 50 bridge. You'll have a shot at those migratory fish pretty soon. Right now, it's mostly still residents, but you know, keep going out there, keep fishing. And as further we get into winter, the more of these migratory fish we should see. And I think that about does it for this week's fishing report, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.